Okay, it appears this is Chris Sanders, and he has seen something in the desert, and he is trying to understand how could this possibly be. And I understand exactly what he's looking at, and I will try to explain to the best of my ability, and I have the same thing he has, only smaller. So, that sounds terrible. That's always been my problem. I'm sorry, my friends. I couldn't help myself. I find things hilarious now. Everything I say comes out silly and funny and sounds crazy. But everything is crazy now. There's nothing that isn't crazy. Watch what I show you what he has to say. Chris Sanders, he's out here, and he's in the desert, and he's walking. This is, hold on one second. Where is he? He's in Chaco Canyon. Okay, so Chaco Canyon, here we come. Okay, Chris.
This rock and this thing fascinates me. What would cause a rock to lift? Okay.
There it is.
This is pretty interesting. What is this made out of? Okay, it's a sandstone.
All right, he says it's sandstone. And I will explain to you what sandstone actually is.
Feels it hollow. Sounds very hollow inside.
There is literally millions of alveoli, tiny, tiny little tubes. You don't see them. These are the bigger ones, like you have here. But filled in all of these other places, there is a million, zillion little tiny holes you just don't see. And this is what flushes with air, in and out, in and out. And this also, you would consider that sandstone. You look at, oh yeah, that's sandstone. No, it's bloodstone. These are blood cells primarily and flesh. Flesh and blood ends up creating sand in a lot of cases, and sometimes it creates like this. It's basically raw meat turned into stone. So it depends on the conditions it was in, but this was in a dry area. After it preserved, it dried all out, and it's been rained on and eroded, and all of the surface on the outside is gone, and you're inside just basically like this one, exactly the same, no difference whatsoever. So here he goes. Let's look at it.
So very porous things.
Very porous.
But amazing.
Now, he's going to be looking at the surface. We're all the way up to where there is a little bit of surface tissue that's covering the holes underneath. And then he's going to come up and you're going to see some little strappy looking things. And I will show you what those are in a second.
The porosity.
You see, now he's up at the surface. Now, he's seeing these things. He's thinking, what the heck is this? This is the subsurface. All right, pleura has a very thick layer surrounding the lung, and it's always stretching and moving and do all these things. And these are the fibers that connect and pull against each other inside the lung. But this is almost completely eroded. There's only a few of these left. Very interesting. It's eroded right down to the point we can see every detail.
Now there's something here too. This is something.
Bing, 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 bing. It's all empty.
I think this was like a steel that was in.
I don't know what he said. I think he says he thought it was something steel, but steel, I could understand why he'd say that, because blood is iron, basically. Steel is very close to iron. Now, here's the lung I have here, which is no question, this is a lung. It's been DNA tested, CAT scan, and everything else. And I drill inside to get the blood out of it. But these little white fibers here are these things that he's looking at here. These are the stretchy little things that are in here, and it's actually below this layer, right to the basement layer. I have another one here, hold on. This one here is eroded the pleura. That's the stuff that coats all the lung. This one, it didn't erode the way this one did, where you can see all the holes down in here. But that layer right there would have wrapped around this. This would have been covered with that. And this would have never leaked out. All right, this is somehow the Pleural eroded off it very quickly, and then it just got devoid of its contents. And all you left here was a fabric, the same as he has here. No difference whatsoever. And I bet you if I put this in a microscope, I can find, as a matter of fact, I can see some of them right there. There is still some of these fibers left, which is the fibers that were on these lungs. This lung here has all of its pleura absolutely flawless, and it has all of its fibers still there, and a layer of pleura, and then inside is the lung. This one, the pleura has been pushed away. There's the lung. There's the alveoli of the lung. These little tiny bitty holes down inside here. All right? And they're all flat because they were in a flood. All this stuff is product of the Great Flood. Flat on one side, boiled all the flesh away because it was a hot water flood. And it left giants all over the place. This is a giant fingertip. And I have much, much bigger than that. That's a giant hair follicle. Here's with a muscle attached on the side. That's what a sebaceous gland is. That's the root ball, vein and artery, hair shaft, 2 inches wide. So this is not exceptional. It's big even, but it's good size. It's probably, it's good size. So now I think he's going to go a little further with this, but his primary look here is these glyphs that are on the wall, which, they're interesting, but for me, this is most
It's rusted out. But there's something said right there. So I'm here at Chaco Canyon.
You see, he's right in front of that lung. These are all these tiny, tiny, tiny little alveoli in the lung. Now, what's going on here? I don't know, but I'm not going to get involved with this because this is from a much bigger creature than this. They're just everywhere. The things are everywhere. This is layers of membrane or muscle. I think that's a sarcomere. I think that's a muscle sarcomere right there. I'm not kidding you. It's that crazy. And a sarcomere in us, you need an electron microscope to see it. Watch it, don't forget. You see all these little tiny stripes here? You see the different texture of this compared to this? That is made to do this as a muscle. Before I finish up, I want to show you something that somebody sent me. They said this was a petrified book, 350 million years old. I say no. This is either muscle sarcomeres or it's some type of a tendon. I think I did, let me just show you something. This came in as a book, 350 million year old fossilized book. And I looked at it and I said, no, that is not. You see these little tiny dots? You see those little tiny balls? These little tiny ones are all over the place, everywhere. That is not just accidental, like things attached to there. The other thing is, I need to see more of this, what they call a book. This is, I believe, one layer of a phospholipid membrane, and this is the lower layer of basement skin or whatever. And right in there is the interstitium, which is the balls. All these little tiny balls in here let you stretch this way and stretch this way. I think this is basically skin. And it broke along that line for what reason, I don't know. But they do have sections in them where they break straight across for certain lines and places. That does happen. And all these little tiny balls show me that this is not just your average, rock. Those little balls are investments. I'll show you exactly what they are. And it's just that the creatures were so staggeringly large, nobody can put their mind around it. Those little tiny balls are the same balls as these. Right there. That's in the skin. This is like one of the layers of the book. These balls are in that thing. That's what we're looking when we're looking at that book right here. We're looking at those balls and the tendon. I showed you the strap, and then you got all this in there. So that's, I believe that's kind of convincing. You see that? See that layer right there? That's this layer right here. And what's underneath it is all those little balls. And, it was laying flat. This one's a little wrinkly. The other one was laying flat. The other stuff just eroded away. And when you look back at that thing, on the sides, you can see there's these, well, this is not a good shot of it, but, well, you can see there's crack here, a crack here, a crack here. This was in some form of a biology, I can tell you that. No trolls, no target on offensive religious beliefs. They just destroyed everything that I did when I put my stuff up on these places. They hate seeing this stuff. It just really offends people. Oh man, this guy, Derek, phew, he was just so upset, finally blocked me, which is okay, I don't care. If you don't want to see, it's up to you. All I can do is show and go. So now I am gonna go because I have a show. And you can see or you don't see. That's not for me, that's for you. If you don't believe what I'm showing, no sweat off my back. All right, I love you. Have a nice day. See, that's right there. It's the same stuff. These things were absolutely stunningly large. So, I suppose that's it for today.